pick it. Now, Misfits relied heavily on a lot of the same champions coming through. It was the Renekton, it was the Lee Sin, the Thresh, the Ashe. These kind of picks comprised the composition out of Misfits that they played time and time again, and it worked very well against G2 last week. With the Elise off the table now, Lee Sin is higher in priority, as you can see on the bottom of your screen. We were talking about the compositions, but I still think Thresh likely comes out as a first pick for Misfits.
And of course, that may allow Joko to steal away the Lee Sin, but something that we did forget, the Zac. We got so excited about every other lane that Zac is open, Lee Sin is open, Thresh is open. A lot of these champions that are very important, and Maxlaw is going to lock in the Zac.
So Zac is by no means a bad pick, but I think that the Thresh here, unless Misfits have been playing around Thresh specifically in the bottom lane this week in scrims, is a difficult pick. You're also giving away a pick that Steelback likes in the Caitlyn that pairs very well with the Thresh. Difficult to punish this lane in the laning phase, so now we have to look at what Misfits have as a reply, but what the Zac does give them, really strong gank and teamfight presence for this, you know, like high-impact jungler, just like we saw Maxlaw do last week.
Yeah, exactly. If not already the best jungler in Europe, maybe he will be. So Zac did get some nerfs on this patch, as did Rakan. We'll talk about them in-game. They're both locked in. Just interesting to note that of the 10 games Maxlaw has played on stage, 7 of them have been with Lee Sin, 2 of them have been with Zac. So this will be the 3rd time he's had the opportunity to play it. And some quick lock-ins, Rakan, Varus, and Ivern.
Now, this Ivern is not necessarily a dangerous pick, but in the sense that you won't punish the Zac. It's difficult to punish him anyway, but now you're looking to kind of scale up at a similar tempo. But the Ivern's role will be somewhat around that sieging with Daisy and protecting Caitlyn along the same time. So there's a couple of different things in this jungle matchup to a lot of jungle matchups we've seen recently. This one might be a lot more hands-off until post 6.
Well, let's find out if Maxlaw or Joko can make a play happen. It's a big departure for Joko, the Ivern. A lot more scaling, a lot more team fight, and maybe this is a good thing because that was some of Joko's weaknesses. We alluded to it a little while ago. Joko had the ability to find first bloods, but often then kind of squandered those advantages. It's a little more difficult when you're on a champion like Ivern because you have to play around the team. We're into phase 2 here, Stress. Cassio off the table, LeBlanc off the table, Kennen as well.
Syndra is still there if Vitality want to grab that, but Nukeduck's played a lot of Echo, can play the Fizz that we've seen into it if that's where Parabeevil ends up going. Vitality may look towards Cabochard's pick to start off this second phase of the picks. However, for Misfits, they're getting rid of one of the stronger mid lane picks, perhaps against something like an Orianna that they might be looking for here. If Parabeevil picks up the Orianna, pairs it with the Zac, that would be a good combination here. And then Vitality can just kind of pick whatever they want into it. But with this Rumble being picked up, we have to ask the question now for Alphari, where's he going to go? Shen is available, one of the few drafts that is here, and can, of course, at least hold its own and then stand United into a fight.
Yeah, definitely also adds or removes that maybe from a Cabo and the likes of this protect the Caitlyn comp. And see how these two teams round out. That will be a Corki locked in. If anybody is going to run that in the mid lane, Parabeevil would be one of those guys. Has played it a lot when it was one of those champions. Has played AP Ezreal in the mid lane when it was a thing. And of course, Corki's new 80% magic damage from his autos. It'll be interesting to see how Vitality itemize and deal with that.
It gives him another ridiculous spike. When you get Void Staff as a 4th item, you just end up hitting people so heavily with magic damage that it's difficult to deal with. But another pick, we spoke about it being a staple pick for Misfits in their win against G2. This Renekton playing up against Rumble, of course, very different instances of impact on the game. Rumble will be more about that team fighting around the dragon, jungle areas, whereas Renekton, he's going to want to try and control the laning phase as always, push up, try and control a side lane forever. But maybe he's going to have a Talia coming up to that top lane along with the Rumble, along with the Ivern for Nukeduck.
And of course, Talia into Corki. Feels like it's going to be a fairly neutral lane, but Nukeduck can just jump into a side lane whenever he wants to. Try to help out Cabo's Rumble, maybe jump down, combo with Joko in one of those setups, and it'll be interesting to see how Nukeduck plays the map.
It's a pick that can also match the package timing for Parabeevil as well, when you look at this way that the Talia against the Corki will work out.
And of course, the utility combination here between Joko and Nukeduck. Another little flavor change, maybe, where Nukeduck, we really liked him on Assassins, on Playmakers, and while you can't do that with Talia, definitely more impactful if you use that Weaver's Wall effectively and combo with the rest of your team.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how Nukeduck can have an impact in this laning phase. We haven't seen a whole lot out of Corki mid up until this patch for obvious reasons, with a lot of the nerfs that Corki was hit with before, but it is a fairly poke and harass-heavy mid lane matchup, and could be a fun one to watch.
It certainly will be. There's a few other fun ones. Zach once again for Maxwell, the third time this split, and by the way, Ignar, he has played his 8th unique champion in 11 games on stage, and this will be his first time on Ricard. So let's see how well he performs. It is Misfits taking on Vitality. Group A taking on Group B. And for Vitality, this is where they need to prove they can hang with the big dogs. Misfits, led by the Kingslayer himself, Maxlaw, managed to pick up a victory last week. Let's see whether or not they'll get stopped in their tracks by Vitality.
So the most important change on 7.12 is already in effect, Trevor.
What's that?
New refillable potion icon.
Oh, but what else changed?
So, yeah, some actual important ones that changed as we're seeing Misfits again. We are into a brief pause, just coming out of the gates.
It would happen as I take my jacket off.
Vander seemingly, we'll see what is up with Vander at the moment, but one of the changes that did come through that is going to be significant, the door and shield change. We'll still see it in the bot lane, in the top lane, maybe not quite as commonly as before. The change that happened was they increased the cost of it by 50 gold, essentially to withdraw that second potion that you used to get for door and shield, and it just makes the sustain a whole little bit less.
Okay, so we'll see how well that impacts the laning phase. I am hearing from production that it is an in-game setting related problem, I believe with Alfari, in fact, who actually called the pause, despite the fact that Vander was very animated on stage. Somewhat irrelevant at this stage.
Maybe his hand was just raised to answer questions about the patch.
Could be.
You were asking, like, what else has changed? And
it was also nice. Hearing there is actually something Vander's discussing with the referees and technicians on stage. We'll keep you guys apprised as we go forward. But yeah, talking about some of those Doran's items changes, I'm personally happy that the Lord of the Rings is now no longer possible.
Okay.
The unique mana back, the mana back, sorry, per minion kill has now been nerfed. It's unique.
Yeah.
So we're not going to see any of those stacking. I want to see whether or not we see any more of those Gragas top lanes, etc., that were so prevalent.
But if history has taught us anything, Trevor, it's after the Lord of the Rings, it means you have the Hobbit. And if the top lane turns into how bad the Hobbit movies were, that's not really what I want to see. But you do raise a valid point. Some of the top laners, like a Gragas that unfortunately isn't in this game, won't be stacking those Doran's rings. However, Renekton wasn't looking for Wizard Lizard on this one. Same with the Rumble, not really opting for that as a bonus for them. So this game, it won't have the impact, but Vitality early on, making a move into the bottom side jungle, trying to just secure as much vision as they can. Maxlaw and Alfari, as always, will do the same thing in response, make sure they can get it topside.
And of course, we need to keep our eyes on Cabochard's Rumble. Definitely got hit by the nerf bat and the adjustment bat a fair amount. Changes to his heat, changes to his Q, W, and E, respectively.
Yep.
Theoretically adding some more decision-making to as and when you use your kit, and making a little bit more clear when you can actually pick those fights around the Flame Splitter.
Yeah, a lot of people talking about it being a nerf with regards to some of the push potential and the way you can actually manipulate the heat bar. It was always very easy to just maintain in the yellow area of his heat bar where you get that bonus damage. Now it drops off a whole lot quicker. The increased cooldown on his Q makes it trickier to balance that. So I'm expecting, you know, some of the more seasoned Rumble players to continue building the pickup, but maybe those that haven't had a massive number of games may drop it, and we'll see other picks come to fruition in the top lane.
Yeah, keep a close eye on it. Nukeduck is actually moving in to try and harass Maxlaw Zac. Got some early vision on him, and Power of Evil on this recently adjusted Corki. Also going to be sitting in that mid lane. Started with the Corrupting Potion, and you have to feel it's going to be difficult for Nukeduck in the opening levels. But once he also gains some levels and some AP, can easily just push that wave and keep Corki at bay.
The important thing there, as we were seeing on our screen that I was just double checking, was Nukeduck did kill 2 of the Raptors. That's why Maxlaw is only level 1, has only just hit level 2 now on his Wolf Camp. And that is a big detriment when you're talking about how normally you want to put Zac behind, and Ivan isn't a jungler that can do that. Well, if you've got a Talia that'll come in and take away some of the early camps, that might very well affect that matchup.
I'm interested to see how Vitality play this mid to late game. It has been one of their many weaknesses in the summer split. And with an Ivern, with a Talia, with the theoretical ability to play around a Rumble top or a Thresh Caitlyn bottom, you've got a huge amount of tools, a huge amount of opportunity to make, great plays. And it's going to be up to Joko to be in the right place at the right time and not make the same sort of strategic mistakes that we've seen out of the squad that is currently 1 win and 3 losses on the splits.
Yeah, and it's a team that hasn't necessarily challenged the teams above them either, and I think that's one of the difficult parts, is that you can see in the opposite group, Roccat go and pick up a win off the group leaders, whereas Vitality haven't really had that same kind of performance, and that's why we want to see more from them. We want to see when the stars align, how they actually can perform. Because right now, if you're a Vitality fan, it probably isn't looking all that convincing.
No.
But to start this game out, putting MaxLore a little bit on the back foot, as Joker's going to go and clear up his second route through his jungle, should give them a slight advantage, but I don't think it's going to be enough to kind of break the game open. 2 Raptors aren't going to be that difference.
And Stress, you mentioned in picks and bans. Zach into Ivern. It's not going to be the most explosive of early games. It's going to be an interesting mid to late game, though. The team fights and how different they are. MaxLore's definitely going to be looking to scoop somebody up with that Let's Bounce ability. Give a little bit of stretching strike attacks, pull people together. So there's a lot of tools, and they'll do things very differently. This is MaxLore and Joko as the game progresses. Yeah,
they, as we see Joko lining up around this Raptor camp, a lot of fighting over this. Rakan's coming up too, Parameval over the wall.
All right, Valkyrie's in. Joko's not going to be able to find the root caller and ignore on his first roam. Seismic Shove is sidestepped. And we see a little hop over the wall from MaxLore. Cabochard's overheating. Going to force the flash from Alphari, winning out that trade 1v1. That's a good sign for Vitality.
Yeah, it's a great sign for Vitality because Alphari has been a lot about dominating the laning phase. One of the best laners statistically in the EU LCS, but at the bottom lane, Igna having to dash his way out of the fight rather than looking for any further engage. Hansama was too far away.
Now, no support, and of course, that's a good sign for Vander, by the way, finding that death sentence onto a very mobile Ignore. But it didn't result in anything, unfortunately.
No, it wasn't enough to get a kill, but we talked about the mid lane matchup and how Corki normally is a harass-based and, decent laner. Well, he's down 50 CS right now, has been constantly shoved in by Nuketug. And of course, Nuketug's still going for double Doran's Ring. It is only the mana back from killing minions passive that doesn't get shared by Doran's Rings anymore, so you still get the health, the AP, the base mana regen, and now you get to roam because you've been pushing, you hit level 6 early. But Alphari, even though he's got no flash, has MaxLore around. Cabochard wasn't level 6 himself, so Vitality back away from the dive and just look for vision control.
This is a good start for Vitality.
Yeah.
Nuketug, a gigantic amount of CS ahead of Power of Evil. And Nuketug has been one of those players that I've been extremely critical of in the past, but 2017 summer, he has been showing up and he has been delivering. Is this going to be another one of those games? Death Sentence catches onto Ignar. Ignar looks for that grand entrance onto Steelback. Unfortunately, steps on a trap on the way out. That's a summoner heal from Hansama just to keep him healthy.
Ignar's not necessarily found the mark on a lot of these plays here. It's difficult to kind of cold get that engage with Rakan without landing something else first. Obviously, post level 6, you can kind of alt flash in and get the easy charm down, but kind of want to watch how the Misfits bot lane is going, because we talked so much about Ignar and Hansama as a duo. When they entered the LCS, they had looked so great previously, but doesn't feel like they've been dominating every laning phase. They are slightly ahead in this one. Excited to see where they can go with a lead like this.
Yeah, exactly. And who's going to pick up that first blood? As you mentioned, Joko actually had really, really good first blood statistics for the opening of summer. His early game play was his strongest suit. So you kind of go, okay, well, if he can do that, let's pick a jungler champion that can scale, and he has to play around it a little bit. That's something that maybe he's moved a little towards. Steals away the blue buff right underneath Alphari's nose. And Joko's just going to waddle his way to safety. His little candy left behind. And Nuketug should be able to pick this up as well. So double the bonus off a single steal.
Yeah, Easy blue buff going over for Nuke Duck there as well, as you said. And we'll be able to... This will just maintain the mid lane push forever, basically, on this Talia. We didn't see that roam at the level 6 point work out for Nuke Duck, but certainly he's in no hurry to go and finish that off. Although we are starting to get to the point where the package is going to be available. You've got to match that ultimate for passive now on the Corki. And that is one of the trickiest points playing around a Corki, is whenever he shows up, you forget how quickly he gets back into lane. You can just go aggressive.
Yeah, that movement speed buff is significantly large. Cabochard's going to run into Maxlor in the jungle. Electro Harpoon comes down, and there's no additional play that comes for it. Let's quickly look at Maxlor before any action breaks out. And some of his stats between X1 and 2, and then in his series last week against G2. Higher jungle proximity, spent a little bit more time with his laners, significantly high kills plus assists at 15, and then look at that. First blood participation and the additional gold from the early game plays working in his favor.
Yeah, this guy was on fire last week on the Lee Sin. You can see just how his activity, or at least the success of his activity, went up. He's looking for some activity in the middle lane here if he can catch Nuke Duck.
Wow, stretching strike, and the elastic slingshot misses. Nuke Duck actually uses the seismic shove, and that ends up saving Maxwell from some damage. The threaded volley is starting to miss as Joko's rejoined the mid lane. That was just a ghost from Nuke Duck, nothing further, and Joko takes advantage with some vision and yet another buff steal. So that's 2 already in the last couple of minutes. Yeah,
this is, as I said, both sides of the jungle have been taken away by Joko. We were talking about how they need to put Maxlor on the back foot. Well, now that Maxlor's first engage post-level 6 doesn't go his way, it's another moment where Misfits have not been able to contend with the early game out of Vitality. And in previous games, we've talked about how Vitality have been good at pushing towers early, good at securing first blood. Well, they haven't done it yet, but they're in a good position to do that kind of thing with such a gold lead.
Yeah, and look at these CS differences, guys. It's 10 minutes in. Power of Evil is still down 17. That's just shy of 3 waves. Cabochard in the top lane, thanks to winning that 1v1 earlier. He's got himself 11 CS in the advantage. And I like cutting between Corki and Rumble at this stage because you have an equalizer and you have the package, which is an even better equalizer, but slightly less damage. And I'm a big fan of when you have 2 of those burning trails on the ground, because no matter which team you're on, you're screwed.
Yeah, X marks the spot of somebody dying in the middle of that fight when they cross each other. But you saw Power of Evil looking perhaps for a roam up towards the top side, getting the vision down, clearing out the control ward. He's looking for that pathway up to the top lane. Deny the ability of Vitality to react with a teleport or any kind of play like that by looking at the bot side of the map. And then build around this package. Remember, the package has a limited time. It must be used before it expires, which means a lot of people will just throw it into the lane to kill the minions, but they go on Nuke Duck.
Now, Nuke Duck gets caught, gets rooted, gets knocked back, gets charmed. Nuke Duck's down for first blood.
All the good work from Vitality around this mid lane. Nuke Duck building himself a lead. Joko giving over multiple buffs, and unfortunately not playing around the package. And Rakan not being in lane makes it very difficult for Nuke Duck to stay alive. Didn't even get a chance to flash out of that. You can see that Ignar, his flash, his ult, the ignite, everything is down, and Misfits punish him in the mid lane.
Yeah, there was just too much CC, and it was chained too effectively. And Misfits, despite being down 1,000 gold, they make the first blood play happen. It not only lands in Power of Evil's lap, but he's even able to bounce back with the CS. And here's a replay of just how it started.
Yeah, of course, we initially had the Vitality vision, so Ignar goes in, ult into the flash. Doesn't even matter that the root caller hits Nuke Duck, or hits to try and save Nuke Duck, but Misfits easily able to hang on through that one, as they just get an easy kill, back themselves out after the first package play of the game. And that we have to now look at every couple of minutes. That package is going to be available. They'll be able to power back into a lane, get a fight started. And it's so difficult to play against if you haven't been playing against it recently, because it's kind of like a teleport almost.
Yeah, in some ways, that adjustment period, right? Mm-hmm. Just reminding yourself of how it all works. Ignar can use that battle dance. Sorry, correction. W grand entrance out to safety. Manages to do so. And that's going to be one of the challenges for Vander. Because if you look at the targets, you don't really want to catch a Renekton or a Zac. And Hans Summer, he's going to be the only sort of juicy target, as Joko is going to have some support here from Nuke Duck stress. It looks like a tower dive is on the horizon.
Yeah, it looks like they're building up towards it, but as Ivan actually backs away, Maxlor, I don't think he got spotted, but there certainly is a little bit of security. There was an Ivan bush down there that may have caught out Maxwell on his way through. It was just checking what Ignar was skilling. We've seen a lot of difference from Rakans. Ignar actually putting a couple of points in Q early. Not something you normally do. Normally you put it more in the engage so you can make them happen more frequently.
All right, there's the knockup. No, it's interrupted! Vander with the lantern. Man, that was milliseconds away.
And that's one of the reasons why you can play Thresh into Rakan. If you can get the Lantern out, it's you know, a reliable way of avoiding the Rakan engage. But speaking of why perhaps he put the points in Q, if he can stack up that Spell Thief's Edge quest, complete it, and get even more movement speed after, you know, hitting the Q, it makes Rakan a lot more powerful. But at the same time, I think in the lane, you kind of get so much from those constant engages that I want to see if more Rakan start skilling into Q more often, because we've seen a whole lot of the knock-up, the grand entrance being the primary focus.
Yeah, new patch, slightly new meta.
Yeah.
We'll keep our eyes on it as the weekend plays out. But Dragon #1 stress goes over to Misfits. Uncontested by Vitality. And despite being down in the lanes, Vitality really didn't, Misfits really didn't flinch. You know, Power of Evil's got his Trinity Force completed, he's got his Cull already stacked up, and Steelback is doing Steelback things.
Yes, we got a Steelback special. It's the early QSS in a team comp that is almost made to protect him fully. I don't quite. I'm not a massive fan of that, but Steelback has done it even quicker in previous games. Remember there was a Varus game where he actually built it first item before anything else?
Hey look, that chain of corruption and charm from Ignar, that's very, very important. Vitality, they fancy their shot at Tower First Blood. Hansam and Ignar forced to run away. Gleaming Quill will offer some HP back as Hansam is zoned away. Steelback with that QSS, not too bothered right now. The Blade of the Ring King hasn't even been finished, and Hans Summer can't even kill the Toad because it has resets.
Vitality will get the advantage on this top side tower, or at least they looked like they would, because Misfits were trying to recall out. I think they're actually just going to back away here. Daisy gets popped, tower's going to go down easily for Vitality. So once again, Vitality playing tower game in the early game very well. Now Cabo goes to defend the bottom side, neutralizes anything, but hang on, you just use your TP in the face of the enemy. Misfits want to engage.
Vitality did not back away. It's a 3-on-4. Alfari puts down the Dominus, and Maxwell's got a Let's Bounce, ready to scoop up any victims. Here comes Power of Evil from the mid lane. Vitality, that was shocking.
Greedy TP there coming through from Cabochon. Misfits were able to regroup, and yes, Vitality secured now a couple of towers for themselves, but you lost a lot on the top side. You accelerated this Corki's build, and theoretically, Misfits will be able to secure the Rift Herald, maybe look to equalize the tower game from themselves. But Vitality, that was sloppy to TP that early into a situation where you didn't need to go so quick.
And not back away.
Yeah.
You know, kudos now to Misfits. Let's take nothing away from them. They reacted very well. Power of Evil dodges a lot of the volley from Nuke Duck, puts down the package and knocks Nuke Duck backwards. His spell shield gets popped. The exhaust is down on Cabo. PoE was running that one. Power of Evil has his 4th kill already.
And another greedy play from Vitality. Nuke Duck pushes mid, doesn't recall, goes towards the bottom lane to try and help Cabochon, who, yes, they got the tower in the end of it, but you gotta look at what they're giving away for this. Extra kills. This Corki will be a late game monster, and there's not really gonna be any way for Vitality to deal with it.
No, there's not. And I think you definitely mentioned the fact Vitality are still 3 towers to 0.
Yeah.
All right, so let's not take that small success away from them. However, they've given up 4 kills to the Corki, and this was, of course, the play that started it.
Yeah.
Teleport completing by Cabo Dunbar.
And look, Steelback, okay, this team comes built to protect him. Well, you don't have the numbers to win this fight anyway, so he ends up dying easily. Power of Evil comes into the fight. He's able to just put a massive amount of damage down, even though it's early on. It's not just a late-game champion. He's very strong at that point, but...
Oh, look at that face! I love seeing Power of Evil on screen. What a personality, and he's got this humble aura about him. He's definitely a competitor, and he's definitely showing up today. New pick, new patch, Power of Evil definitely not afraid of new, unique styles.
Yeah, and look, we talked about the tower lead that Vitality had, 3 towers. Well, look at the bottom lane on the minimap. That tower is low. Mid lane just died because they picked up Rift Herald. And top tower, yes, Vitality will look to defend it for a while, but look, if Misfits bring everything up to the top side with this Corki, with the package soon, it's going to be a difficult one to keep alive, and they're just going to go!
Maxlaw, let's kiss, he yells! Scoops up Vitality! Steelback and Vander are in trouble. Power of Evil was cut off from the engages. Nuke Duck was roaming. It's still a 3-on-3 in the top lane, and Vitality are able to clear the wave. Maxlaw almost made magic happen.
Yeah, good engage, but no real follow-up. It didn't look like Misfits were prepared to commit. Cabochard's TP was still down, and Power of Evil wasn't roaming up towards the top side, so Misfits didn't end up getting the tower, but they know they're playing a bit of a slower game. Get the tower bot lane, Alphari drops back, you can reassess the situation on the map.
And that's exactly what Misfits do. Misfits grab themselves that second tower of the game, extend their gold lead to 1,000. And they've got 2 towers now to the 3 conceded of Vitality. Those CS numbers don't matter. And you know what? I love the teamwork from Vitality, Stress. As a team, they agreed not to make the right call around Cabochard's teleport. And as a team, they agreed to gift 1 kill each to Misfits, right? This is cross-group play in extreme mode. If this were Doom, this would be Hurt Me Plenty. This is the game mode they've opted into. That one killed me. The Doom reference, I like a little bit of that one.
You didn't lose me. I was trying to figure out if I could make a flashlight or gun reference from Doom, but unfortunately I got lost along the way. And Vitality, they got lost along their way as well, because they were trying to build towards these good damage items, and then a QSS comes around and looks like a great item to build, but you realize on Caitlyn you really need to get completed items. And now you're so significantly behind in damage. This Varus was going to be strong earlier anyway. He's got a Blade of the Ruin King, he's got the Zeal completed. You're sitting around with QSS and BF Sword, waiting for damage to arrive when you just don't have any.
Also, Power of Evil on a Corki already has his Shiv and Trinity Force.
That too.
So what's next? Infinity Edge into Void Staff. Is that what we're looking for?
That's one of the more traditional routes. When you look at it, it actually would have been traditionally Infinity Edge before. And then we see some Rapid Fire, some Static Shiv, but that Void Staff as well, as you were talking about earlier. Because of the increased magic damage that Corki now does, Void Staff is that much more potent.
Yeah, of course, for anybody who hasn't caught the specifics on Corki on this patch, 80% of his auto attack damage is now magic. And look at this, just a little. It was changed from 50-50. It was 50 magic, 50 AD previously. Look at that tower top has now fallen. The Ring of Vision in Vitality's jungle means they are currently burning down as Misfits are strangling their half of the map.
That's why it's disgusting when you get Infinity Edge and the crit happens, it gets converted. Oh, disgusting through all of that magic penetration as well. If you've ever played up against a late game Corki, you know how that feels when you get autoed twice and you lose all of your health. But at the same time, he has a lot of poke, he has the engage, he has the escape. Very, very difficult to deal with.
Yeah, indeed. And I'm still waiting to see the some of these new support-based items and where they're going to slot in. At the moment, it's just damage for days, really. Static Shift for Steelback, still going to be working towards that eye edge. His spike or his ability to make significant impact in this game is so heavily delayed. Yeah. It's not going to be a 30-minute spike, it's going to be closer to a 40-minute spike, maybe.
It will. It really will at this point. He's only down 600 gold himself, but when you put yourself further because of the QSS, it actually means you're closer to 2,000 gold down on your opponent when you look at combat stats. Now, everybody always makes the argument, if that means nobody throws crowd control at you, you survive for longer, but if you get hit by one and then you QSS and get hit by another, still doesn't help.
Wow, great CC chain thus far from Vitality. He managed to get 40% of Maxlaw's life, and he's able to just walk away. Starting to get very, very beefy with that Warden's Mail. Almost a hit track in Ruby Ruby. Missing one more. And Misfits now need to set up Baron. We've seen good Barons from them this year. We've seen bad Barons from them this year, and this is now like kind of school lesson mode. I don't even know what the word is. Let's see how well they set this up and play around it, because as it stands, Maxlaw a little bit aggressive on that start.
Yeah, this is, if you're in school, you're trying to answer the question before they've even finished it, because you're trying to do this without setting everything up. But if you get this pick, that'll do well enough.
All right, respect flash from Vander. Joko's the target. He gets rooted down. That's a decent seismic shove coming out of Nukeduck as the teleport from Alfari will complete. Vitality are able to disengage. And now Misfits are grouped inside Vitality territory. Cabochard has held onto his teleport. And he's going to continue to shove that lane. See whether or not they can apply any tower threat. It'll be a while away as now Vander just out of range of that stretching strike.
The package is available, so if they want the Corki to go back, pick that up and get back into lane, that would be one option here to reset the thing. Push mid, go back, get the package, and look to engage again.
Let's find out what happens in these next few minutes as Cabochard shoved backwards. All right, Misfits, they didn't necessarily set that one up. Felt kind of like a rushed play to me. I'm gonna go back to the drawing board, pick up a couple more control wards. You can see a number of them in Vitality's inventory, but now they're fighting to regain vision. Maxlaw and Ignat, they're gonna look for some targets. Oh, nothing happened. I was excited.
Because they're looking for Hans Sama in the top side. Look, Nukeduck does not have his ultimate. It is not available after the last fight. Otherwise, Hans Sama will be dead here. Misfits are able to back away. And Vitality will have to look for another play.
Man, the bravado. Hans Sama did not step into vision of minions there, and I actually think Vitality knew he was there, but they couldn't get it quick enough.
Yeah.
Allowed Hans Sama to escape. Has that Hurricane, has Blade of the Ruined King, makings of his next Zeal. And you know what? Misfits are saying this is fine. We've got Corki, we've got Varus, we've got Zac. We're happy to play a little bit later. Keep Vitality at arm's length. But this is also good for Vitality because it's allowing them to scale up. Vander's got another QSS as well. Get some more survivability on the support. As Ivern and Caitlyn continue to scale, Vitality are going to be happy with this slower pace.
Yeah, they will be if they get enough time to get late on into the game, get that Caitlyn to that 4th item point. Should be able to output a significant amount of damage, but now mid lane.
All right, Steelback takes a lot of damage. Good root down onto Maxlaw. Cell Division passive is available. Let's Bounce comes down. The Cell Division is popped. Hans Sama is simply too far away, and Misfits get caught out.
Hans Sama was top lane when Maxlaw and Power of Evil went aggressive. I wonder whether that was Power of Evil trying to time the package out before it finished, looking for a replication of the play they made earlier, but this time, everybody on Vitality was available. Misfits didn't have the same vision control on the top side.
Death sentence onto Hans Sama, but Vander doesn't follow it through. The quickness into the entrance, and Power of Evil's unstoppable. Instant reply as Vitality were not close enough to respond.
And just as Vitality get a positive play, Vander is caught out looking to get a ward down and just can't survive. It gives away all of the ground that Vitality had just claimed. That right there, killing Maxlaw, should have opened up at least the vision control of the Baron pit, but Misfits are able to punish Vitality for once again sloppy setup, and now Misfits, they're going to start this out themselves. Zac is nearly there. They will have their smite available, and this is a significant amount of damage that can be done quickly to the Baron, but see if Joko can get in there.
So important. Equalizer and Threaded Volley are available. Maxlaw helps out Power of Evil to get his 6th kill of the game. And while Vitality stop the Baron, again, this is just Misfits very happy, very comfortable in this play style. Man, they're just going to back away and going to keep using Baron as a bait. And come on, we dare you to fight us, Vitality.
I think Misfits were looking to actually take the Baron afterwards because they had enough health in their minds, and then Steelback headshot Igna, and that actually reduced his health so low that I think the whole of Misfits decided not to. So this was the play. Look where Hans Sama is. That's just not a fight that Misfits were ever going to win here, because yes, okay, they get the engage, but it's a 5 versus 3 for the majority of this. Alfari didn't have TP, Hans Sama wasn't there, and look, Vitality, if you all go together to get this vision, Vander maybe survives. Nukeduck and Joko go towards it, start to go with him, but look, the damage backed away.
Yeah, no Rumble, no Caitlyn.
Joko dead.
As we jump out of the replay, we can only assume Maxlaw was able to scoop up Joko. His ultimate is on cooldown. Vitality now getting pulled apart. 3,000 gold down as we approach 30 minutes into the game. I really want to see what Ignat decides to build. He's got that Aegis of the Legion. And Aegis has got a number of different build paths. Look at the damage on Nuke. Power of Evil and Hans Sama get the double team. Vitality are stuck inside Vander's box. Power of Evil gets his 7th, looking for his 8th, but won't be able to secure it. Hans Sama denies it with the double kill, and now this should be a safe and easy battle.
Yeah, once again, a single pick against Vitality leads into a small skirmish going in Misfits' favor, and Steelback is left running away at the end of the fight, not even autoing for the majority of that skirmish that just happened. And this has been a problem that has been just symptomatic for Vitality week after week, is they cannot team fight together. Either Steelback dies or Steelback is running away in fights, and there really is no middle ground. This was the pick onto Joko that started it all. It's an easy pick this time.
Good.
Maxlor catches it, gets that first kill, then we go into the fight. I'm going to keep my eyes on Steelback for the majority of this one, because look, he's positioned in a way he doesn't want to get caught. So he gets over the wall, and then look, no autos, one auto, nothing further. He's running away. There is no damage because the team is dying in front of him. He cannot output that damage or he'd die. And this is one of the reasons why Vitality's carries have exceptionally low damage ratings, is they are not team fighting at the same time almost ever.
They absolutely are not. Stress, you did a fantastic breakdown of the lack of damage from Vitality in team fights last week. In front of the Telestrator, looking at Steelback, Nuke, Cabo. We talked about at the beginning of this game. Yeah. Vitality have had flashes of brilliance at different times. And now look at this game. The only flash is Vitality's deaths. 7-0-3 for Power of Evil, and towers are just falling at you.
And that's the thing, is there's no way Steelback can move forward into that fight, because there's a 6 kill at that point, Corki, that wants to hit him with 2 autos and kill him. So if the rest of the team isn't alive, there's no way he can survive against this Infinity Edge Corki. Really, truly no way.
No, none whatsoever.
Interesting. Not opting for Void Stuff as a 4th item.
Listen, when you are given so many kills and towers and Baron...
Exactly. You don't need the extra magic pen when your opponents haven't really been able to build enough magic resist, so you just go rapid fire cannon after it, and you're able to just hit them from further away. Misfits are in total control of this game. From what looked like the 3-tower advantage for Vitality, they haven't expanded on that in a good 20 minutes.
And it didn't feel like Vitality really had a chance. Nope. You know, it is a little harsh to say, but Misfits just really, really comfortable. Keeping Vitality, like that really tall big guy at a gym that holds the really short little guy on the forehead.
What kind of gyms do you go to?
Swing, come on. Imagine Deficio holding Pyra. Like that sized it. No, Medic holding Pyra. While the base is being torn apart. Tower in the top is down. Vitality not able to put up any sort of defense as the inhibitors will be the next target. It's a great visualization, actually. Let's see how and where Vitality decide to fight. Baron, 3 minutes of it has been used. Vitality haven't been able to stop any sort of bleeding. Tower bottom, inhibitor top, like, there's just nothing Vitality can do.
You can't get these waves away. With a Talia and a Rumble against the Baron buff. Now, look, they've tried to catch the Corki.
Yeah, but look, here comes Ignar. Come in, get down, rushing with the quickness, and Vitality are charmed up. But there's not enough damage for Misfits to get their 12th kill of the game. Instead, they are just going to disturb Vitality's base and take down both inhibitors.
I'm all in a land of confusion right now over what you were trying to do with some of those lyrics. But at this point, there is no confusion for Misfits. It's a recall and the game phase for them, because they are so significantly far ahead right now that what was a 1,000 gold lead maybe 5, 6, 7 minutes ago is now 10,000 with the package. Now Power of Evil feels comfortable. Rapid fire cannon. He built a QSS, but it's so far into his build because he hasn't really been caught out so much that his damage is through the roof. And Steelback is not even close to being at 4 items.
Oh, Stress. Not only is Steelback nowhere near, look at that Baron power play.
Yeah, there you go.
6,800 gold. Now, while it is impressive from a Misfits side, remember that Vitality just said, go ahead. We don't want to fight you, bro. They didn't try to defend their towers, didn't try to defend their inhibitors, and they don't have a team comp that's particularly great at starting fights. You know, yes, they can rely on a death sentence maybe, but they want to fight peel backwards with Ivan, Caitlyn, and Talia.
And they don't have a whole lot of option because they're going to need to fight once, or this game is going to end once the top and mid super minions push through into the base. That tower is already low enough that, look, next time Rapid Fire Cannon gets charged, energized, and a hit at that tower, it's probably going to be enough to deal in the damage to kill it on its own. Like, look, there you go, 2 autos from Power, and in Misfits go!
All right, where's Let's Bounce? Still on cooldown. Alfari is flashed forward. The Equalizer gets dropped down. Power Beaver gets his 8. Power Beaver gets his 9. That's a triple. Looking for the quadra.
Oh, can he get it?
There's a pentakill on the horizon.
They've left it.
Nobody from Misfits
Oh,
is
he's
trying
dead.
to take it because he's down. The quadra from Power of Evil will not result in another pentakill. Nuke Duck is running for his life, gets caught by everything from Misfits. The ace secures the base, and Misfits obliterate Vitality. It is a crushing, crushing defeat. And the Nexus falls, Misfits 1-0.
And Power Evil was smiling while it happened because he knew how close he was. Second would have been, well, it's the second quadra, would have been a penta for him.
It would
second
indeed.
penta of the split.
It would have indeed. Our league second penta, and another one to complement his Orianna Smite penta from last year. And Misfits, just, you know what? It's just a clean game, you know? We can talk about those towers earlier, but the moment Caboshot finished that teleport,
Yep.
Misfits channeled theirs, took control of the game, triple kill for Power of Evil early, and that sealed the deal.
And that really was the turning point, which sounds weird because normally a turning point is a Baron fight and the way you turn around a Baron, but that TP into the bottom lane opened the game up. It allowed Misfits to at least, you know, get catches, win a couple of fights and win the game, but there were a couple of moments where like Max Law got caught out, that one engage in the mid lane that Misfits still looked shaky on, but I have no confidence in Vitality's ability to punish a mistake that their opponents make.
And on that bombshell, Misfits Gaming picked up a dominant victory. Analyst Desk, Shocks, what do you guys think of how they did it?
Thank you very much, Quickshot. Well, I think it was super impressive from the side of Misfits, and what Stress said there, Vitality not able to capitalize on any of the mistakes that their enemies make, because after that they always make an own mistake, so they kind of seal their fate. But however, we did want to start with something positive for Vitality.
We're nice guys.
We're nice guys. No, it's actually what happened in the game, and Joko was someone that we were looking at because he always seems to take 1 step forward and 2 back, and there was a different plan for him here.
Yeah, I love the fact that they actually put him on Ivan, a champion where he didn't need to go and, like, you know, fight the enemy jungle a lot early game. So we saw a really smart start where Nuke Duck was kind of sacrificing himself in the early game to get some pressure on the Raptor camp, and then Joko can also invade the blue buff here and steal it away.
Yeah, for sure. The early game was actually really solid here. It shows that Vitality came in with a plan, and I like to say that I'm okay with leaving like OP meta picks open if you have a plan for it. And this time Vitality showed that they had a plan for dealing with a sack, and it's to invade him over and over. He's not as strong of a duelist as other meta junglers like Lee and Lee Sin, so Ivan can't be punished as easily.
Yeah, and obviously we also saw Misfits forget how to play against Ivan level 1, where if you start your Raptor camp, and obviously you can actually get interrupted there, well, it's really easy for Ivan to steal away your blue buff. So if you don't run to his blue buff, well, then you most likely end up just losing your buff and not get anything in return, and yeah.
Definitely. Oopsie there from Maxlor as well, but in the end, this was kind of the only thing. We saw there a replay of where Ivan gets the upper hand, they get a good trade in mid, but what else did it yield them? Yeah, they got a couple of blue buffs, they got a couple of extra buffs, but where did the pressure go for Vitality?
I think they actually came in with somewhat of a solid game plan. They have the Ivan that to really have a lot of synergy with the Caitlyn of Steelback. They also have the Talia to get her rolling in the bottom lane. They have Rumble, one of the champions with the highest TP impact.
Great
so
theory.
They have all the tools to get Steelback going and then protect him. The problem is, as you said, Martin, it's Steelback.
Damn, boy!
Whoa.
Well, he did brush a QSS, which was definitely not necessary, but
No.
the problem for Vitality was everything they built up with this early start of trying to, like, deny Max
Gold was still even, everything
Gold
good.
was even, they got a top tower, and we can just bring up that next replay, because that's technically where the game is decided, even though it's so early on. And as you highlighted, Henning, here, they're trying to, like, you know, get this comp that can protect Steelback, and then the problem here is, Caboshot, he leaves, he's peacing out. The rest of Vitality needs to then also peace out, because they're now maximizing farm on Rumble, but they push forward. And now it's like a Caitlyn that's level 9, so her damage is useless. And it's the easiest fight in the world for Misfits to win.
I think this fight, like in theory, if Rumble's here, Vitality has a chance. They have a level 11 Rumble, which is a good power spike. They have the tools to win a mid-game team fight, but just in a 3 versus 5, you're not going to be happy. And look at that power of Evil. Corki came in for a couple of kills there and played so well on this new champion.
Yeah, he got kills there, got another package, went bot lane, got another kill with that package. He already picked one up earlier against Nuke Dog, and he was 4-0 suddenly. Trinity Force static shift completed before anyone even got close to 2 items. Well, Corki mid lane on 2 items is pretty damn strong, but you got to see that once again.
Yeah, I think Corki, he scales so well because he builds these expensive items. He has to build the IE, he has to build the Trinity Force, which are 2 of the most expensive items in the game. But when he gets rolling like this, gets 4 kills early, I mean, you're going to get 2 or 3 items before the opponent AD carries a 2.
What do you guys make of the static shift as the second item?
I think going for a Zeal item second is a much faster 2-item completion than if you go IH. And I think also the static shift was for him to a little bit extra, like, upfront burst, both against the wave, like 1 hit on the wave plus like your rocket and that wave is gone. Or if you actually manage to get some long-range poke, it can be pretty good against a team that's already behind and stuck together like under a tower trying to defend.
All right, well, it went well for him. He had a lot of kills. He was able to do a lot. And of course, there were some moments where Vitality got the upper hand, but then they almost every time kind of gave it away. One that comes to mind is around Baron. And we're going to take a look at then the final fight, or the Baron fight, that completely sealed the deal, and where Misfits get another fantastic engage off.
Yeah, we see Joko here on the Ivan getting caught out, and there's just not enough vision. They don't have enough boot trinkets. They can't contest this whatsoever. And then there's a fight afterward. In this fight, Power Evil has level 16. He's up a Trinity Force compared to Steelback, which is supposed to be the big carry for Vitality. So he just outdamages everyone on Vitality by so... I mean, it's not even close.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just really good to see Misfits after they did have some issues with Barons. If we go back a few weeks, you know, Maxlaw lost one here and there. Seeing them, like, once again kind of relearn, okay, what is the proper setup here when we have a big advantage, disengage from Baron, take the kills, take the fight, because you're obviously really far ahead. Then you can go back and get your objective after. And it's just good to see Misfits and actually more of the European teams really starting to pick that up.
Yeah, and it's more from what they've shown the last couple of weeks. If they have a big advantage, if they get Power of Evil rolling, or anyone rolling, really, they don't have a lot of trouble closing out the game. And it's very hard for the other team to get back into the game. And with that, Misfits Gaming, they look super solid in Game 1. We'll see if they can close out the series after the break.